and welcome back to Swiss Day 4 live from the Riot Games Arena in Berlin, Germany. Yesterday, we already sent 2 teams to Paris stage, but a very different journey awaits today's 8 teams. We're back to best of 1, 4 games on the menu, and these teams are still chasing greatness. Fans are here, I'm here with Jad and Raz. How are you guys doing?
Doing well.
Good for now.
Good for now.
It's great.
Keep optimistic.
Yep.
I was about to say a word. Keep optimistic, buddy.
This day
Just
has...
had both our teams in the Swiss
I
stage.
know.
Exactly. You said we're back to best of 1s. This is the final day of best of 1s.
Yeah.
We go into best of 3s, then best of 5s from here on out.
Hopefully we do good today, but 2 teams did amazing today. Starting with Genji, taking revenge on HLE after the unlucky finals they had against them. Pace, oh my god, this player, amazing.
It was definitely Pay's day. The fact that in the finals, he had some unfortunate moments like game 1 where he Ezreal E'd forward, lost them that game. He paid it back in full yesterday where he went wild.
Incredibly high quality League of Legends. You could see Genji had the same overall idea of how the top side of their team comps were going to work. Aurora, Nocturne, Ahri in so many of these games. The pick for Pays did alternate though, and the Twitch surprised everybody in this final game, and my goodness did it pay off.
Yes, it was incredible. And I know as much as people really harp on lane swaps, including myself, this was the benefit of it. In the actual post-series interview, he talked about it a little bit, saying, of course it's a bad lane. It worked because he lane swapped. And as you see from the coaching staff, they were excited about it too. This was payback. They finally got to prove to the LCK community, the world's community, that they are the best Korean team.
Excited with the happy ending of this series, let's say, because that was a stressful day for Genji coaching staff. Yeah, of course, here we see.
Yeah.
I gotta say as
he's
well,
the prodigy we expected him to be, but especially shining on new picks like this.
Absolutely. He was so criticized after they lost that Game 5 to HLE in the LCK Finals. Didn't get the 5-peat, but at least they get to be a top seed heading into quarterfinals. It's not the best revenge. They'll need to continue to pay it forward, but they're going to have actually a pretty long amount of time off before they play their next stage game.
Yeah, and usually you'll see this level of creativity like the Twitch in a best of 5s when you know, of course they know who they're going up against in the best of 3, but like when you get the chance to adapt and when you have more time to do it.
Yeah.
But still, it's a nice sneak peek. And speaking of a team that was successful, a surprising success was LNG.
LNG, I mean, the fact that they are going to be the other top seed at a Swiss stage was definitely not on many people's bingo cards. Thank you, Genji, for so many pick'ems. A lot of people would have put them as the undefeated team in Swiss, and they were. So few people would have put LNG as the undefeated team into Swiss, and I think Scout is the big surprise. It was such a question mark of whether or not it was going to be him or Yagao that was even here, and then he shows up, they immediately find success, and personally, I thought their drafts have actually stood out to be exceptional, as well as Scout's play.
I feel like the meta suits them really, really well here.
So well. Scout can come in and come off like with the Yone, the Silas pick was exciting. Galio was a fun one, but that was just DK having 0 damage in their composition. I hated the Ahri and Ziggs. It made it so much easier to play the LPL special historically, the Galio Camille, like that kind of a combo. To me, the surprise was way unhung. This tournament has been such a big surprise. We came into this thinking that those 2 players would be the weakest kind of support jungle from the like the LCK and LPL teams, but they came out really good, and that's a thumbs up, honestly, if you're an LNG fan going into the best of.
Super excited to see them in quarterfinals. They have a lot of time to prep, rest, and we'll see them in Paris, but that's not the case of all the teams that we're going to see today, because middle of the pack fighting still to find themselves, Jad, I feel, for a lot of teams that we're going to have today.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the middle of the bracket, this is today. We get 4 best of 1s, and it will be the last 4 best of 1s that we see at Worlds, because tomorrow we're going to have these elimination games, and essentially the winners of today move into this pool, and the losers of today move into this pool. Losers have to win back-to-back best of 3s to get out. Winners just have to win one of their next 2 best of 3s to get out.
Who advanced, Jack? Can you point and show us who advanced?
Who advanced?
Yeah.
Yay!
Yeah. Bam!
Yeah.
Oh, you got hops. Never mind. I thought you wouldn't be able to do it. Actually,
All right, go Raz. Who
I cannot
advanced?
jump that high.
Okay.
All right, good job.
Okay, you guys feel like playing?
Basketball.
We're gonna play a game here. Actually, we've taken comments from social media, interviews and everything that's happened at World so far. And our lovely analyst and myself actually are gonna fill in the blanks. Thank you so much.
There we go.
Do I have I have a mini whiteboard
giving you a small
because I'm a
one.
mini
Yes,
person.
You gave her
All
the
right.
small one?
It's
Look, it is
fine.
what it is.
Let's roll the first question.
Height
then.
accurate.
Yeah, so we're guessing.
We're guessing, we're gonna have quotes from social media and interviews. We're gonna have to fill in the blank and find which player this is about.
Yeah, either
okay.
a player or a moment.
blank. Yeah.
Exactly. So just fill in the blank.
2.
2 is better than 1. That's a tough one.
Two
What the
blanks
hell?
is better than one. 2 control wards is
Oh,
better
I
than
know this one. I know this one.
Then what is it? Aren't we a team?
Oh, okay. No, I will give you a hint if you don't have it. I
Okay.
read it actually.
Okay.
It's part of my job doing
The
interviews.
hint is that you read it?
I read every interview.
choosing
That doesn't help me at all.
No, I
Yone.
saw it on social media. It's a
I'm choosing
player.
Yone.
It's a player.
'Cause-
2
oh,
wards.
really?
All I had is the hint was too late.
Oh, 2
Two ways better than one. Yeah.
Oh, man.
Nice. Okay.
I had this one. This one was after, yeah, of course, after they played each other, BLG, NNG on day
Hey, the
one.
coaching staff, big way too. So
One
there's
of the
3 ways
biggest
technically
upsets.
if you want to be specific.
True.
But damn, that was good.
All right, what's the next one?
All right, let's roll the second one.
I was thinking it was like Nico specific, like it was it
That
like
would actually be good.
yeah.
All right, bad news. Enemy top laner is fed. Good news. It's
Oh, God.
It's
this
someone.
is
Oh, my
here
God.
we go.
lame.
it's a comment
Okay.
from Reddit.
Who is it? Yeah. So this has to be Flame. This has to be Flame. So this is spicy.
Enemy top laner is fed. Good news. Okay, which top laner has been really underperforming? You know.
I mean, listen, I'm going to, just because they ended up losing the game, even if I don't agree with it, I'm
Kiaya?
putting Kiaya, but
do
I
Wiser.
think this is wrong.
I have nothing.
I'll do Wiser. I'm also
right,
wrong,
let's
but I'll do
reveal.
Wiser.
What do you guys have? Wiser?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's gonna be something mean. 369.
But he carried.
Yes.
This was from the game they lost to Genji, I guess.
Good news, it's 3-6. Wait, was it the first 10 minutes, of the game versus MDK?
Probably was.
Maybe.
Okay, I don't
Cavalier
know.
Paul. That's the Reddit user, guys. So flame
We'll check
him on
this
the
one out.
that's the 369 hater.
All right,
feel
third
tricked.
one here.
My shirt came undone when I jumped.
So hard, actually.
All right, let's see what we got here.
It's not like I like playing Smolder, but as a pro gamer, I prioritize winning over having fun.
Chovy!
That's Chovy.
Yeah, that's just straight Chovy. No one likes playing Smolder, and if they do, then you are at
That
fault.
sounds
We're
right.
in alignment.
We're locking in
We all
Chovy.
said Chovy.
Yeah,
We're locking
all
in.
aligned here.
My penmanship is quite bad, unfortunately.
I already know we're right. We're getting to the next question.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
good.
there you go.
Yeah. Well, thankfully.
From
Luck.
Travis Gafford.
Big
Shout out to
Trav.
Travis.
Honestly, also shout out to Chovy for admitting that he doesn't like the pick.
Yeah.
Who
I
does?
feel like, by the way,
Who
that's
does?
such, a,
Yeah.
that's such a memeable comment for the future.
It is.
All right, next one. This series for blank was like when you go to Walmart and there's no cheese, but it's stuck right. What?
This was a hysterics quote. No, you need to say it's like this series for who?
Yeah.
It was obviously hysterics who said it.
Oh!
You need
Yeah,
to
he
get the
straight said
series.
it. I said blank. Yeah.
Oh my
This
God,
series-
how am I
I know.
blanking? I'm actually blanking on this one.
I know.
5, 4,
I'm not
3,
gonna write it down,
2.
but
I actually don't know.
for-
I was so
for-
focused on the hysterics
for-
part.
For Gam, I guess.
Is it a GAN series?
Man,
D plus?
Which series was that?
I'm so sad.
Was that yesterday? Yeah,
been
it looks
the-
like it was yesterday.
Yeah, oh my God, I guess it was the
I mean, they didn't
flight.
have a good time,
I'm so
honestly.
sad.
Last one here.
I'm so sad. We're not getting these.
No, we're really bad, but it's fine.
This is a hard game.
It's a really hard game.
I forgot about the rules of the game and I didn't think about the blank.
I'm sorry you couldn't make it to World Perks. I miss you. Don't worry about your hairline fighting. No, that's an actual comment from Champions Queue. We saw
Yes,
this one.
this was a
Who
real
said
comment.
this? I think it's...
This was the man,
I'm just gonna do,
the myth.
I'll do Showmaker.
I-
You did Scout.
I think it's Scout.
Wait, I thought it was Showmaker.
I put down Showmaker too.
I think it's Scout.
Because
Okay,
there's
5-3.
been some, like, you know, there's a bromance between the two.
Oh!
Boom! There's a bromance
so
between
bad.
the two. I love seeing it too.
All right,
So at
well,
least
you
we
guys
got.
did good.
It was
yeah.
fun.
We're going to
+1 for
reset
us.
for a bit and send it over to Fnatic's coach, Nightshare, for the Verizon Game Day interview. Why are you throwing things all the
likes
time?
to do
Why are you
this.
throwing things?
Nightshare, a big match. You're in the one-on-one pool, but obviously that's when you really want to win versus top esports. But first, I do want to talk about the performance of Fnatic so far here in the Swiss stage. I feel like if you look across the games of versus D+ and GAM, there were positives, but also different issues that propped up. So I'd love to know from you which are the main takeaways in order what really has to go better for Fnatic today?
Well, honestly, if you look at the first game against DK, right, I think the biggest issue for us was that we were kind of scared. We kind of played like with nameplates on. So whenever there were like situations where Braum just walks up alone on mid wave and then we are like running away, you know. So then we kind of covered that. And I feel like we did pretty well going into game, where we were kind of on the other hand of we kind of body languaged the enemy team and they were a bit scared, so we were gaining a lot of space and it was easier to play.
Regardless, though, the mid game did get a little tricky as well. Do you feel like you've been able to iron out these things? Because versus top esports, it could be a case where one fight could change the entire game, is something that we've seen from Western teams classically versus Eastern teams.
Well, honestly, as of now, I feel like on the level that we are, we will commit mistakes, and that's completely normal. But I agree with you, right? And against the best teams, and mainly the Asian teams, in later stage of the game, if you commit like one mistake, it can cost you the game. So we still have to get better at that, and hopefully today we will.
It is, of course, a rematch for MSI. It was a best of 3 there, and you won one game of the best of 3. So, hey, it's only a best of 1. But is that still relevant? And did you look back at that tape specifically, or because the situation has changed, you have identified new things that you should focus on to get this win specifically versus TES?
We've honestly not looked back at that series at all. We kind of look on how the meta and the game is being played now and what we need to focus on. And I feel like, honestly, TES is a good matchup for us.
Okay, I will leave it at that. Good luck.
Thank you.
Yeah, and our first rematch of the day is going to be TES versus Fnatic. We know it's an important matchup for all European fans, of course, but we saw this one at MSI. Went quite well for Fnatic, even if they lost, but I just want to see how they evolved since then, especially in their Worlds run so far.
Exactly, because during that time in MSI, it was based off of Humanoid and Razork's level of play. Like, it was their LeBlanc and the Jhin Zhao. They had great moments, but it was just about being able to find consistency within the game, and that was the case for Fnatic, I felt like, throughout the split, is finding consistency and being a better macro team, finding improvements, and I think that has kind of been also the case for this tournament as well, in their GAM game specifically?
Yeah, I think it's really always very difficult to try and gauge team strengths based off a best of 1, especially because the opponents can vary so wildly. Because for Fnatic, I'd say they actually had a pretty solid showing against D+, but it's hard to take too much from their victory against GAM, whereas TES, they beat T1 on day 1, and then lost to Gen G in, I think, what was a pretty close game.
Pretty close.
They've definitely had stronger opponents, and they're going to be the favorites for me coming into this one. But this Fnatic team is so interesting because they get so dumped on by the community, but I feel like the potential and the ceiling of this team is so high because their individual players, when they're playing at their peak, can compete with absolutely anyone.
Absolutely. And in that sense, if I look at Fnatic, I'm a bit worried on the side of the top lane for Oscar. He hasn't been performing well. Yeah,
like specifically, there are times where, I mean, to be honest, in the GAM game, the level 1 was quite rough. Like the dive was really tough. Being able to recover that from that was really hard. So like that has been the case. That's very true. But if I just look at the story for this team, Noah has been exceptional. I was actually really happy with that Ziggs game because even though the look at the top lane is very stark and very clearly in favor of 369, I think the story for Fnatic is just being a better team and setting up Oscar better. Because you're right. They have been a team that hopefully, like the fans want the improvement, and I think we're seeing that bit by bit.
And we know how much it means for them, right? We know the history around them in top esports. We know that they need to show up now. That you're not going to get a lot of second chances in Swiss stage. What are you doing here?
What are you doing here?
Oh, hi.
No,
Sorry, I think we're forgetting something really important. And it's what is it? We need to be talking about something in relation to this rivalry. And I can't remember. Can you remember? TES Fnatic. I was here. It was right here. I was supposed to do it right here. I was supposed to walk here, and then
maybe someone
there
can
was
help
something
you.
here as well.
No,
and
2020.
Then it's about the rivalry, and it's about the history, and it's about yes, that was it. I remember now.
Wait a minute.
You gotta let me make up for my sins. It's gonna work this time. I swear. You gotta let me. You gotta let me fix it. It starts.
No, it starts with you out of here, please. Oh my God, there's a lot on the line for the teams we have today, and they have to show more than what we've seen from them so far and prove that they have what it takes to push their run further. It's time for day 4 of the World's 2024 Swiss stage.
Are we really kicking Shox out?
Absolutely!
Let her in!
No way!
Shox, what were you saying?
You gotta let me fix it.
No!
在中国有句古话，叫胜不骄，败不馁。我认为在一开始就碰到强队的话，确实是对我们有帮助的，因为这样会让我们意识到自己的问题吧。
I think after the loss, there's a lot of emotions. I've learned how to deal with them. I'm able to draw conclusions that can be helpful for me without letting the emotions get in the way.
去年的话，就每项都比赛都很想赢，所以我的心态上有点很着急的吧。然后今年的话，就学到东西打比赛，就自己好的做好自己的。
我觉得现在的输赢只是一时的，我们看谁能笑到最后。
이제 프로게이머를 시작하면서 책을 좀 많이 읽기 시작했는데 그 책들에게서 얻은 교훈이 이제 항상 또 배우면서 겸손하게 사는 게 저는 경쟁자가 많을수록 되게 좋고 재밌다고 생각해서 이제 그만큼 제가 더 성장할 수 있는 것 같습니다.
I definitely think that having the support of my family means that I can really just go all in on League and become the player that I dream of becoming, which is of course always someone who can support his teammates and make sure that we're doing the right thing.
我从15岁就出道了嘛，然后打到了现在，其实也是一直不断的在精进自己。
现在还有很多粉丝都希望你可以再打1年。
目前没有想太多，想要先让这次先走更远，再想这个问题，想要拿到以前没有拿到过的成就。
我们一路从入围赛打进来，我们不会在这里倒下的。第一次参加世界赛的我的实力还没有那么强，也有很多缺点。但是现在我改掉了我很多的缺点，并且非常的全面，实力也特别强。我感觉我有自信挑战任何对手。
Last year we were very close to make it to quarters, and it was very painful.
Fnatic put up a good fight, probably the best I've seen them play.
It gave hope to the European fans. There was optimism.
This year we still have a high chance to make it. I'm still very confident with my boys that we can go to Paris and show the world what we are capable of.
我们一定会拿下你们的。
We're gonna come into the matches with confidence and hopefully with learnings from all our past matches, we can show you a version of FLICKR that's the best one yet.
对上 Fly 的话，我会像今年 MSI 一样，把你们送回家了。
Welcome everyone back to the Swiss stage here at Worlds 2024. Today we'll be looking at all of the 1-1 teams, 4 incredible matchups coming your way. The final 4 best of ones of Worlds 2024, and already TES and Fnatic taking to the stage.
A rematch, a rivalry that this year did not go the way of Fnatic. Top Esports were able to edge out with a 2-1 victory at MSI. But both teams have changed in many ways. They've evolved. They've had to adapt as the meta has showcased quite a change from what we've seen compared to the summer split. And that's going to be the big question. Now that they've gotten a good number of games under their belt, 1 win, 1 losses for both sides, what have they learned? What have they been able to adapt? What have they been able to bring into their toolkit to give them an advantage in today's best of 1?
And hopefully what they've learned is ban Yone. And that's, of course, you are rooting for Fnatic, in which case you're really hoping that TES think Yone is bad, because it's been what Humanoid's used in both games, and it's bailed them out of a lot of very precarious situations, no doubt in my mind. But you make a good point, Betty. While it feels like maybe Gen G has an overall pretty solid read with some of their scaling utility, a lot of other reads, especially coming out of the LPL in terms of what they want to prioritize. So we now get into our first pick and ban of the day. Reminder, winner moves up to the 2-1 bracket. Already tough competition up there. Loser down to 1-2, which is a very scary prospect A lot of terrifying teams going to be on the lower side of that Swiss bracket.
Let's think about some of the high prios. Aurora, Orianna. Oh, immediately those are going to be the first taken off the board. Junglers, where are they on the priority list? Well, the Zig's going to be added to the list. Makes a lot of sense, especially directed towards JackeyLove. LeBlanc taken away from Humanoid. Top Esports really showing that respect to Humanoids. Yone, though, of course, still available. Are Fnatic going to give it over? The Vi taken away from Razork. The Skarner still available. Sejuani we saw from Tian to, honestly, good success in the early game. But Fnatic still pondering over their final ban. Will it be the Yone? Will they allow it to go through? Because I promise you, Creme is going to lock it in. Oh, there's the Zyra ban. Well, here we go. The test now for Top Esports.
I think the big thing to keep in mind if you haven't been keeping up with the tournament, yes, Yone is a solo queue terror, but this is a champion who can do a lot of incredible things very risk-free. He can make great engages happen. He only needs really a single item before it becomes a massive threat. And while, yes, he will fall behind in a lot of lane matchups early on, we've almost never really seen a situation where Yone hasn't come back to be a relevant threat, but it seems like Fnatic say, hey, we're willing to give you that Yone. We believe the Smolder is more powerful, or they're just happy to take either side of the matchup.
I mean, HLE probably gave us the best example of what a Smolder can do into the Yone matchup, where Yone isolated can shut down a Smolder. In the context of a team fight, when Smolder has a proper team built around him, it becomes very difficult for Yone to have that same level of team fight impact, giving you so much late game control around the neutral objectives, especially Dragon and Baron. Now, 369, we saw his Rumble yesterday, and I thought it was, well, it wasn't yesterday, day before yesterday, sorry.
Of course, against Gen G.
But it was, honestly, it was incredible. We saw Tian playing through 369, which is something we don't typically see. Usually it's a bot side focused team, but they got him off to a very early lead, but they couldn't really convert those later game team fights into successes. But we've seen that Rumble is still very impactful in the meta, and with Yone being so important in the mid lane, I love this combination that we're seeing. The Sejuani plus the Rumble plus the Yone, it's a trifecta with the Sejuani combination alongside the Yone, Rumble providing that great AP damage later into the game.
If you look back, right, on LNG and their big upset over BLG, a huge portion of that is the power of that duo that you're highlighting there. It is the Yone Rumble. Jhin was a great pairing with it as well. You can see TES debating if they needed to pick it this early in draft, but obviously the utility Jhin brings to the table is only further amplified when you have such great dive potential, such long-range threat that both the Rumble and Yone can bring in. That said, K'Sante, a safe, more conservative option from the side of Fnatic, as we now look to the AD carry bans, Ashe, the Kai'Sa as well. Wouldn't be surprised to see an Ezreal taken off the board here too, as Noah's used it to pretty good effect in the past.
Surprised to actually see Top Esports banning the Kai'Sa away. I guess when you look at Fnatic's composition, they don't have a lot of AP, and Kai'Sa can bring some of that extra AP damage. It's something that we often see in this Yone Rumble composition. If you do want a little bit more AP, Kai'Sa is the go-to. So perhaps Top Esports is saying, you guys are very much lacking in the AP department. We'll remove one of those AP AD carries and limit your mixed damage profile. The pool has now been pinched significantly, likely leading towards the Jhin, and that is what Fnatic is going to lock in.
Jhin and Smolder, obviously decent carry potential. They work well together. You have a lot of long-range poke with a little snap bubble from Smolder or the Mom to set up for the Jhin. Not ideal when you don't have range anywhere else in the draft so far, but you highlighted, Vetty, really no magic damage to speak of, which could leave them vulnerable to some of the defensive itemization choices, especially for Tian on the Sejuani.
If Top go for a Rell now, just look at this engage. I mean, MF, Sejuani, Rumble, Yone, that is a wombo combo I've ever seen. They sat there and said, okay, so you want to scale, you want a team fight? Sure, we'll team fight you. Let's see how things pan out.
And the thing that makes it so terrifying, to bring it back to that duo we talked about earlier, is you can just throw your Yone in or your Rumble in, see if something hits, and then use all your big cooldowns, right? That's what makes it scary. Normally when you have these shotgun-style compositions, it's pray for the group up, throw it all in, Malphite ult style, but they have a little bit of flexibility here about picking those angles. The Rell, as you highlighted, Fnatic now looking for that option. It's tough, though, at this stage of the draft to really stop TES from getting anything powerful here. Rell does beat out Alistar in a lot of the early lane phase. Maybe we are in a situation with K'Sante already locked in that Fnatic really feel like they can out-pressure in a swap, but Jhin, you know, notoriously pretty bad at getting any tower plays down and punishing teams for swapping.
Well, I am a little concerned with Fnatic's damage profile. They have 2 main damage threats, in contrast to Top Esports, who have a lot of team fighting power. In terms of their early game, I expect them to be able to get pushed on the top side of the map. They're going to concede some of that pressure in the mid lane, potentially opening up Humanoid for a few ganks when you think about Sejuani and Yone as a combo. But the bot side of the map, I expect a lot of back and forth, a lot of trading. We'll see who's able to get that early prio, because I think it's going to be important. But then the question comes back to, are we actually going to see a swap come through? Is this something that Fnatic actually want to try and put some pressure onto the Rumble early on? But remember that Jhin not that fast when it comes to taking turret plates, but then Fnatic might be the ones to initiate that swap to, again, try and put some pressure on the Rumble.
That will be the big thing to track, at least in the level 1. In the first few levels of the game is how the lane assignments are going to shake up. But Fnatic, I think it's safe to say, a narrower composition in terms of what it can accomplish through the stages of the game. Smolder, obviously, in the simplest terms, is that late game scaling, kind of get out of jail free card, but getting there, always tricky against the Yone. Even if you put this champion behind, we've seen it in the hands of Humanoid, in the hands of just about every other mid laner at this tournament, it will always find those big team fight moments to come back. Will that be the story for TES today?
When I was looking at the stats last night, Yone is 9-2 at Worlds so far. And bear in mind, one of those losses was Caps against HLE, that incredibly close where he did end up losing to a Smolder. And Yone was the only reason, well, a large part of the reason, I should say, that that game ended up being as close as it was.
Just all I'll say is, because I don't want to discredit everyone for playing this champion, it's very powerful and the best pro players in the world clearly are leveraging it to its most extreme, but I think every single game Yone is involved in, around level 13, 1 to 1.5 items, there is an insane team fight where Yone kills like 4 people. Like clockwork. We'll see if it happens this game too, if this will be a different story. But this is probably one of the most consistent team fighting champions we have seen on the world stage thus far. Certainly safe as well. And hopefully something that Fnatic are ready and prepared to deal with, because again, this is the first time that Humanoid hasn't been on the pick himself. Smolder has looked strong, but does require a level of discipline around picking your fights that hasn't been the most consistent for Fnatic this year. Much better usually when they're finding those early leads, snowballing them through, but are, of course, domestically at least, a very strong team fighting team. So if anyone can make it work in the LEC, hopefully it is Fnatic.
Now, when we watched Fnatic partake in the lane swap against Gam, the dive bot lane really hurt Oscar, to put it lightly. He was very far behind on the Gnar. With the swap coming through from Fnatic, it'll be them initiating the swap. 369 is going to see the play, immediately moves over towards the mid lane, and it becomes this back and forth of quickly, we need to get as many people with level 2 as quickly as possible so that we can be ready to set up for the plays. Now, as 369 makes his way towards bot, his primary goal, along with the supports being in mid, again, is to get that level 2 so they can try and catch the wave that's going to be stacking on the bot side of the map. Oscar doing the same thing on the top side, ready to TP towards the bot lane. So nothing too crazy. The map is going to be split, very much as we expect. Vision going to spot out Tian moving into the bottom side of the map, along with Jhin heading up towards the top lane. So everything kind of going as expected. It feels like this version of the lane swap, I'd say it's one of the easier iterations compared to many of the variant lane swaps that we've seen throughout the years. Here comes the TP through.
Are we playing tic-tac-toe, or is that just a very small bingo board? That's what was not clear to me about that.
Well, see, now this is a situation where you'd normally see the dive set up. But, I mean, given the state of the waves weren't massively stacked. There's no 4-man dive on the bot side of the map. Oscar's going to tick over to level 3. And it looks like Rumble's in a similar position where I think, given the state of the waves, they weren't too concerned. As I say, that Razork is hovering around.
369, forced to flash out. Paying that respect over the side of Fnatic. You talked about it on the bottom side, they'd opt not to go with the draft. Maybe this is the reason that Fnatic did offer the lane swap in the first place. Cassante generally much more comfortable in those dive situations than a Rumble ever will be, at least for the first few levels.
I mean, he was able to get that level 3. This wave still isn't massive. He should expect Tian to try and force the dive from happening. Here we go.
Good a poke. It's all about the W. The sooner they get it out, the easier the dive is. 4 stacks still marked up. Tian not able to get close enough to proc it quite yet. Permafrost falling away is big for Oscar. Ignite now ticking. Meiko trying to take that aggro, excuse me. They do force the flash. Good survive from Oscar. A bit awkward overall from the side of TES. Clearly trying to weigh out the W cooldown on Cassante to get the permafrost, but angle and positioning just wasn't quite right.
I mean, Oscar navigated that about as well as he could have, right? He saved his skills to the right moments. He didn't burn his flash too quickly. And the tower aggro, I mean, you can see the difference between the 4-man dive versus the 3-man, and then with the support is there to try and out-execute and all this crazy stuff. But ultimately, neither side finds a kill. You could say a small advantage gain for Oscar, particularly in the experience department. 369 was denied an extra wave because he was actually zoned away from the tower once he lost his flash. But ultimately, both top laners sitting fairly comfortably for the time being, and in terms of gold, they don't find themselves at too much of a deficit, as now the swaps come back. The good news for Oscar is that the wave will be pushing in towards him, so he'll be able to catch that. Meanwhile, on the bot side of the map, it's Fnatic's wave who will be moving towards JackeyLove and Meiko.
Maybe Oscar can find a bit more of an advantage on the top side as he does catch that wave and should be able to hold on to that experience lead. Early level 6 could be crucial in the matchup. For now, focusing in on the bot lane 2v2, both sides avoiding those first few levels. Meiko only being level 2 is a bit awkward if Fnatic are able to find the angle for more aggressive trades. Overall, though, pretty quiet early game. Lane swaps outside of those initial dives usually don't have quite the same opportunity for ganks or activity.
Meanwhile, the mid-lane matchup going very much as we expect. Just a lot of farming. Usually, the CS is not the biggest indicator of how well the lane is going. The stacks are. I think that Zeka gave us the best demonstration where he was at like 200 stacks in 20 minutes, which is egregiously fast. that was like, oh no, that's a problem.
You say egregious because someone on the enemy team did something wrong that the Smolder has that many stacks.
Yeah, exactly. Normally, I would say that something like 170, 180 around 20 minutes is usually pretty good. And then if you're at about like 150, 160, something's probably gone wrong somewhere where you're a little bit behind.
You really cannot feed the baby dragon. Bad idea. Don't know if you've ever seen the movie Gremlins, but it's a very similar concept. You have a bad time if you give this man too many stacks. Razork getting aggressive here. And this is one of the most frustrating things about the Skarner matchup if you're not familiar. His hitbox is so big that when he uses that E, even though you saw Tian try to Q to interrupt, Skarner actually hits first and stops the Sejuani Q in its tracks, which is a really annoying but very niche interaction.
Humanoid going to use the ultimate to push out the wave. Meanwhile, in top, here comes the Skarner.
And Oscar immediately hitting level 6. Perfectly timed for Fnatic. 369, still no flash from the earlier play. Well punished. Nice proactive look from Fnatic.
So the experience ends up paying off wonders for Fnatic. Remember we said earlier that one wave that was lost for 369 put him about a level down. If he'd been able to catch that top wave, it could have been fine for him. But Razork sees the window, leverages the strength of Skarner to go through the wall, catch him off guard.
Trying to play ring around the rosy there. Doesn't see Jhin. Flashing over the wall. A little bit awkward. As Jhin does commit his flash over, but JackeyLove will be able to walk away at the very least. And Betty, I think it's important to look back at the play-in stage of MSI and remember that while TES did beat Fnatic, the one game that Fnatic won, it was Oscar on Camille having a carry performance that I would argue is probably his best
MSI,
of the year from MSI, yeah. And so that's something that I'm wondering if Fnatic can try and replicate. You know, Cassante is not Camille in terms of target access, etc., but still a powerful pick, and with a lead like this, you really can make a difference on the map.
I mean, Fnatic, with a composition like this with Smolder, the important thing is restraint, right? And I think what's really crucial is that any advantages you find in the early game, you don't try and go over the board, over force. You just leverage them to give you a comfortable weak side and then play towards your strong side. You constantly look to trade objectives. You look to continue to funnel resources and gold into Humanoid. And the fact that Oscar has this lead just makes him harder to dive in the side lane, right? It makes it more difficult for top esports to find those opportunities in the early game. And that's not to say that top esports don't have late game of their own. Yone split pushing is always going to be lethal. Their team fighting, you already look at the wombo combo that they have. That's a big thing. That's a big advantage I think top esports is going to have. But for the time being, Fnatic, I think taking the right approach, being very calm, respectful, and just kind of looking to trade on the map where they can.
Definitely makes a lot of sense. Noah setting up with the curtain call. Bit of poke onto JackeyLove. Razork on the way, but he will be a little bit late. Jhin only level 4. Razork now spotted. Maybe they're going to be able to turn this play around. Immediate ultimate coming in. The Impale, a bit of work there, but the follow-up not. JackeyLove over the wall. Huge damage and a massive punish onto Fnatic, who thought they had the angle on the bot lane play.
Bit of a misplay there from Fnatic, and JackeyLove comfortably punishes it. A fantastic MF ultimate from across the wall. Is way more damage than Fnatic is prepared for. They thought that they'd caught Meiko out, but crucially, Noah misses his W thinking that Meiko's going to get hit into the wall, but then that's not actually what happens. Razork actually brings him past the wall, the CC doesn't connect, and that's 2 early game objectives now for top esports.
That person's a very big fan of JackeyLove, and you can understand why. sitting on the other side of the wall, pushing R. He's a hero we can all get behind. And of course, the early BF sword makes this matchup very difficult because while Noah is fast with those Swifties, he is not winning any trades.
Keep an eye here, see. So the sun comes through, but then the ultimate from Razork drags him out of range of the wall, so the W doesn't connect from Noah, which means that chain CC doesn't follow through. Meiko gets the knock-up. The combination with the MF ultimate as well means that they absolutely decimate the Fnatic trio. Well played there by Top Esports to equalize the kills.
Definitely a very strong start, at least a counterpunch to give them an edge on the bottom side of the map to balance out Oscarin's lead, which is just holding at about that kill worth of gold. Obviously, some early MR will make the matchup much easier, but to your point earlier, Fnatic, I think, happy to trade even as long as it gets more time and more space for Humanoid to continue to stack up. Looking at the next objectives, second grub spawn in 1 minute. Keep in mind, TES already got the first Drake, already got both the grubs, so in terms of objectives, they're significantly ahead, and if they're able to get that 4 grub buff or even 6, it's going to get a lot more difficult for Fnatic. For now, though, 369, the one in trouble. Again, so many resources used by Fnatic to try and take this Rumble out of the game.
Well, I mean, 369 is also just walking through the river. That was an easy opportunity, especially with Tian hovering around the top side of the map. Bit of a misplay from him, as now Top Esports threaten the dive. Yone on his way as well.
Tough for Noah to do much. They get the TP out at the very least. JackeyLove very far forward. Second TP now coming in. Oscarinin waiting behind. JackeyLove should just be a dead man walking. Quick kill pickup. Meiko is already out of there, taking their time to make sure they donate it to Noah. Just in time for second grub spawn. 15 seconds away. Fnatic priority on the objective. Able to get that top push. Might need to answer mid, but should not have to concede these grubs.
We'll say perhaps a bit of an overcommitment as Oscar now is in danger.
Unstoppable though, Kazante able to pull through the wall. The perfect angle as well. Takes his time to line it up. Knock up there from Creme, but forced back now as Razork tries to follow. Meiko potentially going to be in trouble. Q3 comes in from Oscar, still doing good damage with the ulti response going out. Jhin now following up, but Creme is right into the midst. Fate sealed for Oscarinin as Fnatic forced for at least a moment to back away. Q3 ready for Creme if they do want to re-engage. Objective, not the name of the game here for Fnatic, but sadly this entire sequence of play, while they did win out in kills at least a little bit, they're going to lose the grubs.
It's a situation once again where we talk about Fnatic overforcing. They got out. Oscar was in a good spot, and then they sat there and thought, wait, we can punish this, we can actually chase for more kills, and Creme's like, I feel like you guys forgot that I'm playing Yone, and then immediately turns that around, and they give a kill over. Look at the farm advantage that he now has because Humanoid committed the TP up to top. There's now a full level advantage in favor of Creme. And now, once he goes back to base, I imagine he's going to be sitting on enough gold to be able to even buy the Blade of the Ruin King as well, forcing Oscar back. A 2-level lead over him. All of this farm is going to be denied. Top Esports, off a single play, now gaining a sizable lead.
And of course, building up on some of their early objective control. Having 6 grubs with this Yone on a sideline. Yone is going to be so tough to answer. Makes this really difficult for Fnatic. 369, again, if it first you succeed, just do it again, I guess is the mantra for Fnatic. They really just want to focus down 369. This is their only avenue to play. Humanoid stacking up a lot here, but I don't know if he has the damage to finish these kills. TP now coming in. Creme on the way down. This Yone should be able to do a lot of work. Humanoid now needs to get the hell out. Razork trying to buy a bit more space, but Humanoid just determined to get this kill. This is so greedy from Fnatic. Blood in their eyes, blinded by the potential of what could be in the bottom lane, but it all falls apart.
Top Esports happily pick up 2 kills, and crucially, another one goes over to Creme. He's able to TP down. They turn it into a 4 versus 2, and Fnatic over-forcing again. They were so desperate to turn that into something more. They'd realized that once they'd gone for the play under 369, it was already too deep. And they thought to themselves, if we can get another kill, make it a 2 for 2, then maybe it'll be fine. I think the play in and of itself is okay. You can see they're spotting out JackeyLove in the river, but he's still able to rotate down. He doesn't get interrupted. Jhin is making his way down as quickly as he can, but at this point, like, Humanoid's even going to flash in to try and have enough damage. And it just results in 2 kills. Nice chain CC. Tian gets out with barely, he levels up to Top Esports happy after picking those 2 kills up.
Happy to punish there, and I think the thing that we talked about with Smolder is not happening, Betty.
I mean,
we talked about you have to be able to lose gracefully. You have to wait for your time, knowing that when you're a big dragon, you're going to kill everybody. He didn't have an item completed. He went in there with a Kindle Gem and a Caulfield's Warhammer like, I'm going to kill this boar. That's not enough.
Yesterday, we saw D+Kia drafting the scaling comp, and first thing I thought of was like, this doesn't feel like a comp for D plus Kia, right? Because they only know how to fight.
I agree.
And I'm looking at Fnatic, and they're like
This doesn't feel like a comp for Fnatic. Because if we look at Humanoid's identity, like farming on a side lane, finding those leads, that's great for him. But that's why the Yone work, because he can still make those teamfight plays. As JackeyLove is going to be forced to flash out. Small summoner picked up there by Fnatic, so good look to catch him overextending. But Fnatic certainly going to have to show a lot of growth, even in the context of this game. They can't afford to make any more greedy plays like this because they're already falling so far behind. 3K lead just about for TES. Fnatic now trying to get set up on the Drake. Make sure that Soul is not an option too early. They have decent control, but
Oscar's got a TP.
Creme level 11. Nerf some of that CC. 369 pushing on the side lane. So good pickup from Fnatic, knowing they forced out some of Jackie's sums, taking that advantage, using it to secure Drake.
I just think Creme is so strong. He is such a serious problem for Fnatic right now. Yone typically tough laning phase as a champion.
Sure,
That's what he does. Like he really doesn't do much. He doesn't have that much damage. He's very limited as a champion. He's very reliant on getting items.
Yeah.
So once he gets this item is really when he comes online, and now he's more than happy to look for fights, and the damage should show that.
You can just go right back. Yeah, it's important to understand. While when you go to the store and you buy attack speed, you just get attack speed. Yone also gets cooldown reduction on 2 of his abilities. Also, if he hits you with enough of those abilities, it's also a knock-up. So when you think about the synergistic scaling of this kit, it's like Yasuo, but you don't have to die 10 times to be good, you know? No one talks about the Yone power spike. He doesn't have to die at all to be powerful, which seems pretty strong.
Anyway, I feel like everyone knows how strong Yone is, so I won't keep hammering on about it.
I will resist. Yeah. It's my #1 favorite thing to complain about right now. But Creme will need to find a way to navigate out of this. Immediate ulti. Razork, perfect angle to catch him. Impact there. Chain CC. Q3 almost gets him. They have to use everything they've got in terms of cooldown. But that Yone is dead. Shutdown acquired. 500 gold over to Oscar.
Cassante says, get over here as they drag him back into the lane. Creme doesn't get an opportunity to flash away. And a crucial pick for Fnatic. We talked about how much of a problem Creme is going to be on a side lane. The good news for Fnatic is that Top Esports really weren't able to punish anywhere else on the map, meaning that Fnatic find themselves a kill and a crucial shutdown. Does go over to the Cassante, means that Smolder is just going to continue to farm towards the bot side of the map, close that experience gap just a little bit, as they now set their sights on the bot lane.
369, once again, the center of attention here. Fnatic like the paparazzi descend. Easy peasy pickup, the 3rd time this game. Rumble's been taken off the board. TES now trying to respond in the mid lane. Noah not in a great position. Looks like they will have to concede the mid lane tier 1, but at least they get a bit of gold from the bot lane kill.
I mean, it is a nice pick, but I still think it's worth it for Top Esports. They get mid and top. That's all out of towers now. They move into the top side jungle, and I mean, just look at the vision control that they have right now. Wards are littered across the top side of this map. There is this one potential flank ward, but there's no TPs that can use it.
Herald charges there. Oscar trying to defend. Second tower, not going to fall.
Humanoid
maybe is going to fall, actually. There's a lot of grubbies there. Creme flashing back. Humanoid off to the side. Mom called in. Initial slow is good. Quick use of the locket there to mitigate some of that damage. Jhin now into the backside. Noah ready over the wall. Perhaps could just go for the curtain call, but Meiko now go for the re-engage, and JackeyLove is there right in the nick of the time. The equalizer coming down. It doesn't do a lot, but they don't need it. TES tearing through this fight. Lock up onto Jhin is flawless. Another kill going to the side of Top Esports.
How many times have we got to tell this tale? Fnatic once again try to force a play. Top Esports had control over the top wave. They were going to concede that top tower after dropping their Herald, but Fnatic say, hey, I think there's a play here. They try to force the fight, and Top Esports very smartly immediately punish it. Humanoid gets engaged on thanks to a nice ultimate from Tian, and it's at this point where you realize it's too overforced. Such a nice TP flank going to come in as well. They're disconnected, and look at this engage. Nicely done from Meiko. Locks up the 2 members. The bullet time over the top. And the wombo combo is there. We talked about it coming into the draft. We're seeing it now in the fight. If you overforce these fights, in the mid-game especially, Top Esports are more than happily going to take them.
You can see frustration, perhaps resignation on the face of the Fnatic staff there, because, look, this is a game where Fnatic are finding some plays, some angles of attack, some kills. 369 has 3 deaths, right? Those came from somewhere, but the downside is almost every single time TES are trading up somewhere else on the map. And then when Fnatic do finally force a group play, like you said, it's an overforce. It ends up costing them much, much more. Creme, the target here, but it's just going to go all in. Snaps right back when he sees somebody.
It's so easy for Creme to solo kill pretty much anyone he wants now with these items. And he can do it so safely as well, thanks to his E. Humanoid needs this cover on a side lane to be able to ramp up. Stack-wise, Humanoid's still doing relatively well. 180, 19 minutes in is definitely a good pace. But you just kind of look at the map state and it's just in tatters for Fnatic. It's so difficult really for them to set up on an objective. They don't have their TPs available. They should just look to concede this dragon. Top Esports have done a great job of, if we think about the punishes that we've been seeing, every time Fnatic overstep, Top Esports is there to punish. Yeah. Every single time. And even though Fnatic have been able to find these picks, Top Esports have been making smart cross maps on the map. And they've just been slowly, methodically been picking apart of these weaknesses from Fnatic and converting it into bigger and bigger gold leads. Now, both JackeyLove and Creme with basically a 2k lead between the both of them, well, independently, giving them a full item advantage over their lane counterparts.
Which is completely massive as we get closer and closer to Baron, spawning 3 seconds away. With Yone on your team as well as a Rumble, you can burn through it quite quickly. No reason for TES to risk cover. They're ahead in Dragon stacking. They've got more side lane pressure with the 6 scrub buff. And it's a situation where you highlighted early on, Fnatic doing okay in terms of trading kills, but TES were the ones to get the objectives. And now they're trading up in about every single skirmish. Creme.
He almost solo killed him. If Jhin wasn't there, I think he would have died. I mean, he lost his flash.
They force out the ulti from Humanoid. He needs the health. He's afraid of Meiko going in and just igniting to finish the job.
You just, I mean, Tails all the time. People sit there and believe that Smolder is a good counter pick into the Yone, and like to a degree it can be. But if the Yone ever gets to a point where he can just demolish you on a side lane and you're forced to go and match him, then you have a problem. I think the crucial thing that teams are kind of forgetting about their HLE draft is that they had the Jacks that could be used to answer into the Yone on a side, which meant that you just had more time for the Smolder to sit elsewhere away from the Yone and safely farm up.
Creme now farming, solo and bound leverage. Ulti coming out once again, combo there. JackeyLove right where it needs to be, and a beautiful equalizer over the top. Creme now just snaps back to safety. Team is there to body block, and once again, baby, Yone walks away. TES in complete and total control of this game. Fnatic already retreating back into their own bases. TES just continue to pull further and further ahead.
Why not? They have such a health advantage. Razork is down, the smite is gone. Top Esports just dismantling Fnatic, leveraging the strength of their mid-game. There's nothing on the map that Fnatic can really do. They're TPing bot to try and get some form of cross-map, but with the Baron, they're going to get a quick recall. TP answer is going to come through from 369 to deny Fnatic any opportunity of getting anything back.
Humanoid, 211 stacks, kind of what they're preying on, but this is not the Smolder of old. This has been nerfed. You need either more stacks or more items if you really want to have that same level of impact. And I mean, look at Creme. He's almost on a third completed item. You've got armor penetration coming through for JackeyLove, and in the context of this fight, Fnatic really don't get to fight on their terms whatsoever. It's so easy for TES to just kick this off without getting punished.
I mean, Razork just gets melted. He's supposed to be the front line, and you're just seeing how much damage Creme is able to do alone. A simple pick converts into a Baron. Fnatic now find themselves 6k gold down, and the problem is, yeah, you can always make the argument of they've got the scaling. However, Top Esports just have such a powerful teamfight comp at this point in the game.
And I think one of the big things is you can always threaten this Smolder. We've seen Smolder take over against comps that lack long-range engage, but Sejuani ult, the Rumble ult, Yone, it's easy when Top Esports already have control, when they already are going to have set up first round these objectives, to be able to threaten Humanoid and make sure he can't play the game. They don't even need to wait for the objective. Creme that was just very casual. Just walked up to Razork and took 80% of his health.
Yep. Just another day in the office for him. Creme.
Now Humanoid's dead.
That's a solo kill.
Yeah, Mom's coming in, but that's not enough. Mom will not save you. Wait, what else are we going to say? Curtains? Flash. Nothing to stack Q on. Surely he's dead. He's not.
Oh,
interrupt comes in from Meiko. Meiko, the great savior. Body blocks the bullet for the president. They know where it's coming in. Bullet time there from JackeyLove to finish the job. 369 are slaughtering Fnatic in this game.
I mean, Fnatic found picks. There were nice plays at moments, but this has just been a stomp from Top Esports. Commanding performance, looking to put themselves at 2-1.
TES finishing it up. Cool, calm, collected from start to finish. Might have traded even once or twice. The rest of the game, they have just been dominating. One more Wombo combo to send us out. with a bit of confidence. Fnatic's base in tatters now. Creme with Q. Not gonna get caught out. Can they hold the line? Fnatic still going forward. Oscar backing off. Tian wants to finish it here. Oscar stunned up, and this should just be it. If they auto the Nexus, it's over. 369 goes in, he goes gold, and he has a bit more time with the Seekers. JackeyLove getting pushed away from the objective. They need to kill the Rumble, but 369 has the last laugh. They hit him, but he took their Nexus.
24 minutes is all it took for Top Esports to start off our Swiss Day 4. Commanding performance as Fnatic. They tried to overforce, and a lot of credit needs to be given to Tian. 2-0-9. The only kill he was involved in was the solo kill that Creme got in mid.
Incredible stuff. We've said enough. Let's send it over to the AD to break down that absolute stomp.
Speaking of breakdown,
Lore?
Are you okay, Lore? With us?
No! Okay.
That was a tough one.
That was rough.
Yeah.
That was rough. Yeah.
Meiko's like, hey, look.
No, but I mean, you guys were talking about the draft, the approaches, and the power picks, and what can condition Yone here in the favor of Top Esports.
I mean, we've seen that core see a lot of play and success, and I'm talking about Yone, Rumble, Rell.
Yes.
With other things that fly on top of it. The Sejuani enables the two solo laners extremely well, and the Misfortune can just add to the Wombo combo. It was a very aggressive comp. My biggest concern going into that game, and I said it right after the draft, is that Fnatic's comp was going to be a bit too slow. They were going to be extremely low damage before the Smolder gets to 225. Vetty has pointed out in the cast, I would have loved to see like a Jax or a Gnar pretty early there for Oscar, but that's also like trying to change a tire after a car crash.
Yeah.
Like, it's not going to fix the whole picture.
The thing is, too, is that it worked out well, at least in the lane swap. Really early on, where Cassante gets the early EXP lead because they couldn't dive him with the three-man that they had, the Sejuani and Jhin. We're like, okay, like, it's working out. They end up getting a kill topside, too, based off the experience lead that Cassante has. So everything's working out until they had a double TP top lane play that I thought was just not worthwhile. Because Rumble has TP, pushing bot, so you're going to lose a wave, you're going to lose plates, Grubs is coming up, you're going to have to go back bot to catch it, and you're going to lose Grubs. So it's like, that's a lot expended for one champion where the map is being taken away from you.
And it's crazy how easily Top Esports has managed to accelerate the game, I feel. But we're going to talk about this a bit later because we see that Shox is ready on stage for an interview with JackeyLove.
You just had the counterpunch. How much did you feel? I need to pause for a second because I need to wait for the cue from the world feed so that everybody gets the interview.
TES has been able to accelerate the game.
Yes. I mean, that's the thing for me is they ended that game very quickly.
Yes.
Here's the interview.
JackeyLove, congratulations on a very convincing victory versus Fnatic, where it seemed that whatever Fnatic tried, you had the counterpunch. How much did you feel like you were completely in Fnatic's heads and could predict their next moves?
那首先恭喜你们赢下了这场比赛，这一场对阵到 Fnatic 的比赛，队伍展现出了非常稳健的表现，感觉好像在峡谷内的每一个 Fnatic 的动向都被你们所掌握。所以呢，杰克觉得这局比赛你们是要怎么样做到的，可以几乎是预测到他们在地图上的动向，并且能够赢得这么稳健。
这把我就觉得我们野辅的指挥非常的好吧，因为每个资源我们都 按照我们的想法拿到了，然后我们的阵容我觉得就是发育到后面我们打团就很好赢，然后我们小规模团战也打得非常好。
So first of all, I would like to give the credit to our jungle and the support because they made so many crucial shot calls in this game, and we managed to grab, a lot of crucial resources in this map. And also, speaking of our draft we think that coming to the very late game, we have a better chance to show our draft strengths. Also, in some skirmishes, we also perform pretty good.
You did not even need to get to the late game because the game was finished quite quickly. Now, overall, we find ourselves in a meta still where lane swaps are very, very important, and the meta is being figured out by a lot of teams. How much impact and influence do you think you have out of the role of ADC in this current lane swap state?
那在现在的最近的比赛当中，这个版本好像看起来还是一个比较偏向于换线的版本。那你觉得这个版本对于下路 ADC 选手这个位置会有哪些影响呢？
对于 AD 的话，可能就是没有那种，就相比那种厉害点的英雄对线上的压力了吧？因为换线的话，可能会让一些劣势英雄前面会就是正常发育，然后到后面正常打团，所以我觉得。有换线来说的话 ，AD 的压力可能对线压力会相对小很多，但是可能跟就是上路的配合要多一点。
So in this laning swap meta, I will say that for AD carry players, there will be less pressure, especially in laning phase. But you know, in lane swap meta, I think that you maybe focus on the top lane. For the top lane, maybe they will have more pressure on it, and you should have the better synergy with your top lane and the whole team to handle it.
Okay, thank you very much, Sheshe. Congratulations, JackeyLove, and thank you, Christina. And Top Esports moves on to 2-1.
Red Bull gives you wings.
在抵达那一刻之前，
你能做的只有等待。
如果故事再重来一次，我想 JackeyLove 还会做出相同的选择。
等待比分失衡，企图从中看清胜负的端倪。
等待一切安静，好听清自己脑海里的声音，直到抓住那一刻。
他们可能会因为激进而失误，但是不会因为胆怯而畏惧。